Westbank Real Estate Investors, welcome back, everybody. We have another great meeting that I really wanted everybody to get this information for. I met Chris at the last meetup. We are in December at the December meetup. He is with ATA, and ATA is an insurance consultant agency, but they are consultants for the consumers. So we just had Hurricane Ida pass. We just seen some tornadoes rip through the Midwest. So today's call is all about introducing the company, more specifically letting you guys know what they do for investors, and they actually fill the gap between your insurance agent and your policy in between disasters. So I want to introduce Austin and Chris. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us today.
So tell us, I'll start with you, Austin. What is ATA? What services do you guys offer, and how do you guys work with investors?
Yeah, so ATA, I'll kind of just back up to the very beginning of my career and kind of tell you guys about that. But I started with the insurance companies when Katrina hit in 2005. I'm originally from Mississippi. I live in Orange Beach, Alabama now, but I'm originally from Mississippi. And, my dad's business was completely wiped out by Hurricane Katrina. And, our family's homes, I went through a lot of the same things that probably a lot of the investors in your group went through in New Orleans. New Orleans was more flood for sure, but Mississippi was gone. And so I went through that, and I was working for my dad at the time doing engineering. I was going to school to be an engineer and was already doing the work, working with my dad in Pascagoula, Mississippi. And Katrina hit, wiped out our business. I had the opportunity to go to work for an insurance carrier as an adjuster, and I took that opportunity. And I worked for that insurance company for 5 years. And in 2010, I started my own independent adjusting firm. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. But I started my own independent adjusting firm, which is who the adjusters that come out to your house from the insurance company, we provided those adjusters for the insurance companies. In 2015, I got asked by Congress to come to Washington, D.C. to help manage a congressional task force that was put together to audit Hurricane Sandy. So I know you probably remember back, there was a lot of fraud that went on during Katrina with engineers, like the wind versus flood in Mississippi. It was a big case when I was Supreme Court. Well, the same fraud that happened in Katrina happened in Hurricane Sandy in 2012. And so Congress put together this task force to audit any loss that wanted to enter into this program, any policyholder that thought that they may have been subject to this fraud, where engineers were changing reports based on what the carrier told them to do, right? And you think, wow, that can't happen. It still happens every day. Those same engineering firms who should be in jail, right? These people should be out of business, are still operating, even in Ida, right? It's crazy. But they put together this task force to audit all these losses. So I stayed there and helped manage that process. And when I was done with that and came back to Alabama, I got a call from, I started getting calls from plaintiff attorneys in New Orleans, of all places, who represented those policyholders in Sandy, and saying, would you ever consider doing expert work? And I had such a horrible experience. I really always thought that we were the good guys, and I always fought for my policyholders to make the insurance companies try to do the right thing, even when I was working for them, right? And I just thought that that's just the way it was. Everyone was that way. So I was kind of shocked, I guess is the word, when I went and helped manage that audit to realize that that wasn't the case. That not all adjusters fought for their policyholders the way that I did or the way that my company did. And so it really opened my eyes and made me want to do something different. So when those plaintiff attorneys started calling me, when I say plaintiff, it's the attorneys who are representing policyholders against the insurance companies, they started calling me, asking me if I would ever consider doing expert work for them to help policyholders win. And I said, yeah, I really, I am interested in that. I had some hesitation because I knew I would lose my career if I made the move, but I ultimately sold the independent adjusting firm and decided to make that move. We opened ATA, This was in 2016. And today we have helped thousands of policyholders recover billions, not millions, but billions of dollars in insurance funds that was owed to them rightfully. We help everyone from single family homeowners up to multi-$100 million municipality losses, cities, municipalities, prison systems, high rises, shopping centers, hospitals, churches. We do it all. And most people that are the size that we are don't do houses anymore. But, that's really where my heart's at. I feel like we make the most impact with, they're not obviously not the most profitable, but I don't care. I feel like that's the foundation of our company. And I always want to help as many individual policyholders as we can. And we do that through helping single family homeowners. We do thousands of those a year. We do hundreds of commercial claims, but we also help a ton of investors. There's several investors that you would know in the New Orleans market. One investor called me up as Ida was hitting and was like, Austin, I just want you to handle the whole thing from start to finish. I don't even want to deal with it. He has about 150 plus properties that he owns himself, manages another 200. We do the same thing for investors all over the country. That's just one example. And we've handled everything from meeting the adjuster at the very first inspection, and we'll take them all the way through litigation if necessary. We also have a law firm that we own, which allows us to maintain control of the process. And so we've just figured out every part that's needed, every expert that's needed, whether it be engineers or forensic accountants. We did $2.3 billion in business interruption losses for the BP oil spill, and recovered $2.3 billion for those business owners. If it's forensic accountants, if it's fenestration experts, whatever it may be that's needed, whatever expert that may be needed for that file to get it to the finish line, that's what we provide. And we take the burden of having to deal with all the adjusters, all the drama of insurance. That look, you flip, you rehab houses. You don't want me doing that, right? But that's what you do every day. You're the expert in that field. We're the expert when it comes to insurance claims. We want to take that off your plate. And the best part about it, and the way that we do it, it's not going to cost you a dime out of pocket, right? I'm not asking you to cut a check. I'm going to get you paid, and then when I get you paid, I'm going to get a piece of that, if that makes sense.
Quick question, Austin. So we kind of understand the big storm frauds with Katrina and Sandy. So let's kind of zero down. Can you give some examples on how you guys help the mom and pop operation? So even at 150 units, he could be self-managing. What's some examples where you helped out, the 20 and under unit? What's a quick story or an example how you guys step in?
Yeah, I can give you thousands of them, but I mean, let's just talk about a single home, right? Just one. Let's just say if you're an investor and you've got one rental property, all right. The insurance company, we're increasing the claim payout, and this number is going to shock you, I'm sure, but we're increasing the claim payout on claims like over 700%. Like this is not little money we're talking about. And so, the insurance company comes out, they say, well, you got 3 or 4 shingles missing. You have, you might have a water spot here, and they either don't write you a check because it's under your deductible, or they give you a couple $1,000s and you never see them again, right? And we come into those properties every day and we're getting 6 figures. I'm not saying every property is going to be that way, but we see that example every day because the insurance companies, you have to understand, going back to the independent adjusting world, which is where I came from, those guys have, and I fall into this boat too. When I first started, look, I was 19 years old when Katrina hit, right? And I'm aging myself, I guess, but I was 19 when Katrina hit, and they hired me as an adjuster with no training at all. And within less than 2 weeks, I was a manager over like almost 300 adjusters. Now, I was very tech savvy.
That was just demand for that position.
There's a huge demand. There's no qualification though, really. If you can pass a background check and you have a good driving record, you can be an adjuster, right? And the problem's never going to end because the insurance companies don't staff thousands and thousands of adjusters, and neither can the independent adjusting firms. they just staff up. They're basically temporary. They're temporary employees, right? So these adjusting firms are temporary staffing agencies. That's what they are. So they're hiring anyone who meets the qualification. Hold on one second.
So we were talking about the low barrier entry to become a claims adjuster.
It's a really low barrier. Yeah. So they put these guys, and look, it's not that person's fault, right? I mean, you could have someone who has the best intentions in the world, but if they don't know how to do their job, you're not going to get the best service. And that's not a one-off situation. It's almost every time, right? Because the veteran adjusters, they either don't exist anymore, or they've moved on to other things because the insurance company kind of pushes them out because they want to underpay claims. Think about it this way. Our industry, who represents policyholders, we only have a 5% market penetration, not my company, our industry. So, which means that only 5% of people get help, right? And that can be for a lot of reasons. The main reason is they don't know we exist. So most of our job is education, which is what I'm doing today, right? Yeah. But only 5% get help. Out of that 5%, probably only 10% of them are actually getting help from people that know what they're doing. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, but let's use the 5% for example. So that means that the insurance company can underpay claims 95% of the time if 5% were getting paid properly. Who's not going to do that? Right. I mean, they underpay every claim. I promise you, every claim is underpaid. The only caveat to that may be a total loss where you're over policy limits. But other than that, every claim is underpaid, whether it be auto, property, whatever it may be. They underpay claims. That's the reason why the big six, which we're talking about, the red, the blue, what I'm talking about, the big six insurance companies. That's why they're reporting billions of dollars in profits every year. And they do that because of underpayment of claims. The way insurance works is they should almost break even, right? And so the law of large numbers, they shouldn't be profiting billions of dollars. The reason why they do is because of underpayment of claims. I came from that side. I know how they operate. I know the way they think. I know what they do, which gives us a competitive advantage. We're not working miracles, right? We're just forcing them to do what you, in good faith, paid your policy premium for. We're just forcing them to do what they said they're going to do, and nothing more. And you think that would be really simple, but if they get away with underpaying claims 95% of the time, they're never going to stop. And so, which creates an industry of for advocates for the policyholder. And that's what we do. We do this all day, every day. We do it nationwide. And again, there's no out-of-pocket cost to you. We, as experts, bill by the hour, and we bill that to the law firm, and the law firm absorbs that cost until the claim is paid. So there's zero out-of-pocket cost to the investors or policyholders for what we do. And look, if we get into it and we can't do anything, we can't help you, it doesn't cost you a dime.
Yeah.
That almost never happens, but if that is the case, it won't cost you anything. So it's a win-win. There's no way that you can lose. We could lose by putting our time and an investment in it. But we're going to know by looking at the loss pretty quick what we can or can't do.
So in real time, hurricane hits, what should be the process before we reach out to ATA? So a normal veteran investor, they know when the storm's approaching. I might glance at my policy. I might just get in touch with my agent. Hey, I just want to make sure everything's paid up. I'm evacuating to Dallas. I'll call you after it hits. Once that storm hits, what do you suggest or recommend should be the next sequence of actions for an investor before they reach out to you?
So we say reach out to us first. Okay. Reach out. That's the best case scenario. We probably get, most of our clients come in after the insurance company's done the wrong thing, right? They've came out, they've inspected their property, they gave them little or nothing, and then they call us, and then we get involved and get them paid properly. But the best case scenario is to call us first. Let us file the claim for you. But just like the investor I mentioned that called me when Ida was making landfall, we handled everything for him. He never talked to anyone. He never did anything. We handled it from start to finish. So that's like best case scenario. Yeah. Obviously, we're post Ida now, so that's not an option. Yeah. However, we almost everything we do is after the fact, because most people, like I said, don't know we exist. And people that have worked with us before, obviously now they call us first. And that's something else that we do for our clients. We set them up on a master service agreement so that when losses happen, they call us first. We handle everything from the beginning, but we also do free policy reviews for them every year to make sure that they're adequately covered. That's another big thing that agents fail to do. They have a fiduciary duty to do that. Yeah. However, most of them either don't know how to do that or they just don't. Because if you have a big book of business as an agent and you've got renewals every day, you're not going over those renewals with your clients. You should. Right. You're supposed to, but they don't do it. And carriers change coverage all the time on renewal, and they put it in the fine print. But if you don't know where to look for it and you don't even know what it means, you can end up in a situation where you don't have proper coverage. I've even had them drop wind and hail coverage on clients before and not really, the clients didn't know. They just seen the renewal payment. They paid it, thought they were covered, and they weren't. That happens all the time. In those situations, there's things that we can do that most people don't know about. But as with our law firm, we can always file a suit against their errors and omissions insurance. So basically, we're filing suit against the broker or the agent. And then they have to file a claim with their insurance, which will end up paying your loss. So there's things that can be done if that happens, but excuse me, we want to prevent that from happening. And we do that. We do that with doing our policy reviews every year. But at the stage that most of you guys are at now, what you want to do is call us up. Let's discuss your claim and let us tell you if we think we can get you more money. I can almost guarantee you that there's not a loss in the New Orleans market, especially in the Bayou parishes, that we can't get more money. And it's probably going to be a significant amount more. We're handling, I don't even know where we're at now. We're handling probably over 1,000 policyholders for Ida, and that number grows every single day. But we have teams on the ground. They're going to come out and do full inspections of the property, roof to foundation. They're going to write up everything. We use the same software that the insurance companies use. We just use it properly. They'll make you think that they're paying for things the way that they word it on their report, but they're not actually doing it. A good example is drywall. Drywall, they'll put remove, replace, paint drywall, 3 line items, and it should be like 18 line items in that system. So we're going to find – the other difference is we're going to find all of the damage. They're not doing that. They're going to, again, they send out an inexperienced person. They don't know what they're looking for. All of our guys are veteran guys. They've been doing this for a long time. They know how to find out all the damage. They're going to get in your attic. They're going to get under the building if there's a crawl space. They're going to find everything. We're going to inspect all of your windows, your doors, literally every piece of that property is going to be inspected using the latest technology. We do 3D mapping of all of our properties and using artificial intelligence. So all of the measurements are going to be accurate within 99%. Everything is, we take the human element out as much as we can as far as the data part, right? But having the experienced person putting their eyeballs on it and actually finding the damage. There's a difference between just looking and finding it, right? So we're going to do that. And, even if the insurance company sent out an extremely knowledgeable person and a veteran adjuster, the few that still exist, and they wrote up everything the right way, when it gets to the desk adjuster, they can change it, and they do all the time. And I'll give you a perfect example. I was speaking at a town hall with the lieutenant governor in Homa about 10 days after Ida hit. We were at the firehouse there in Homa. And anyway, I was speaking, and I had the SBA there and some other folks from federal government, just educating the community on what their options were and what to do. And I gave this, I told this story about a call I had gotten that morning. And it was a field adjuster who worked for the insurance companies, a guy I've known for a long time. He called me and he said, "Hey, Austin, I'm sending you a loss." He said, "But you can't say where it came from." I said, "Absolutely not." He said, "Look, I got a call from this policyholder." He said, "I went out. I was there, the day after the storm hit, took care of everything, wrote it up the right way." He said, "She called me screaming, hey, you lied to me, whatever." And he said, I wrote the loss up. It was like $140,000 loss. And the numbers escaped me. I know it was over 100 grand. I think it was 140 something. He said, I've slept several times since the storm hit, but I think it was around $140,000. He said that she called me. He said she's extremely upset, and she's like, "You told me you were going to take care of me." She goes, I just got a letter from the insurance company, and they said it's under my deductible. And so what happened was the guy did his job. He sent it in. It went through all these levels of review at the independent adjusting firm, and then it went to the insurance carrier, possibly a third-party administrator before it got to the insurance carrier. But at the end, the person who had authority, somewhere between him and that person, the claim got stripped all the way down to where it was under deductible, and they didn't make a payment on that claim. So we've helped that lady since then.
What would you guys do in that instance?
So we would come in and do a full damage assessment. And now on that particular claim, we went out, and I think our estimate's probably closer to 200,000 because, again, that guy, even though he knew what he's doing, he could only operate within the insurance carrier's guidelines. We don't care about the insurance carrier's guidelines. We care about what the policy says they owe for, which is to indemnify the policyholder, to restore them to pre-loss condition. So we write it the way that it should be written. We don't care about their guidelines. So I think we were probably at around 200 grand, and the lady will probably end up getting somewhere between, $160 and $180. That we'll lose a little bit just because it's kind of built into the process to do that. But that lady got nothing in the beginning, and that happens every day. This is not a one-off story. It's not an anomaly. It's the norm. And they take even more advantage of investors because they know that you don't have time to deal with it. You say it is what it is. You got to move on. You got to get your tenants back in the property. You got to get it going again. You can't wait. And so they take even more advantage of you guys because they know that you got to keep going, and you can't afford to wait forever for them to do the right thing. Right.
Correct. So what's your advice? So I'm glad you're saying it. And we'll wrap up, and I'll let Chris kind of talk about, his role with you guys. But you're absolutely correct. That's the same boat that I'm in. If I call, if it takes too long, I might as well just get the work done and get the property up and running. So what is your advice with that? So if we come back from a storm, I got a fourplex and there's roof damage on the top. I got tenants up there. I don't have any other properties to move them into, and the water's trickled down to the second floor, and I got mold and drywall damage. I got the guys that can do the work. I know what my policy says, but what's more urgent is these tenants and the cash flow. So what's your advice? Do I go ahead and make the repairs? Do I just bring in a photographer and a videographer to try to take detailed documentation of the repairs and then make the repairs? What's your advice when we are in those situations?
So you want to get us there right away. The first thing that every policyholder is required to do is to mitigate further damage. So what I will tell you about your roof is get a tarp on it right away, whether you get or a wrap. There's shrink wrap that they do now on roofs. Protect the roof. Don't repair the roof. Protect the roof so no more water can get in. Get all the wet material out of the property. So any wet drywall, wet insulation, whatever, get that out. You're required to do that per the policy, right? So you want to get that wet material out of the house. You don't have to wait for someone to, you should be documented. Look, you can never have too much documentation. Take pictures, take videos. Most everybody's going to do that now anyway, because we all got one of these in our hands now. There's no excuse. Everybody's taking photos, videos every day anyway. So you can't have too much of that. So document it, showing it's damaged, document it when they're pulling it out. You don't have to sit there and video the whole time that they're tearing it out, but, just shoot some photos while they're taking it out, a video. And then once it's done, shoot another couple of videos and photos. If you have to go ahead and put it back, that's fine. Document them putting it back, and so you can get your tenants back in the house, and we can handle it. If we can get out really quick, which sometimes we can, sometimes we can't, just depends on where we're at any given moment. But as far as timelines go, but if we can get out there, before it's built back, that's ideal, but it doesn't have to happen that way. Yeah. If you've got good documentation, then you're good. So we don't have to, the biggest thing is you have to get the tenants back in there. We know that. Right. And we don't want to do the roof if we can help it. We want to keep the roof protected so that no more water can get in the house. But we don't want to make the repairs to the roof if we can help it. But if you've already made all repairs, that doesn't mean we can't help you. We'll look at every single loss, because a lot of investors are like, hey, I got it all done. I guess I'm just up the creek, but that's not the case. Sometimes we come in losses 2 years after the fact, and everything's already done. And we can still dive into that loss and get things done. So you really, no matter what stage you're at, it's not too late to get our help.
Yeah, perfect. And Chris, we met you at the meetup, and I'm very grateful that you guys came out, because I appreciate the value that ATA brings to the market. How does your role play out with connecting the investors with ATA?
Well, just like Austin had mentioned, people don't know we exist, Emile, and that's my primary role, my main role. Austin's a very busy man, so he needs people like me to just go out, get in touch with people like yourself, and just spread the word. I am a local. I see. Is that a St. Augustine ring you have on?
Yeah.
I actually graduated from Jesuit back when y'all had Leonard Fournette running the football, so I know all about y'all. And then proceeded to go on to LSU, where I graduated in construction management. So I do have that construction background. So I know when people, have been hit and when they have significant damage. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Just to spread the word. Yeah. Everything also just
Yeah, Chris came on board with us right after Ida hit. We're always looking for Chris's title is business development. But it's really an ambassador, really. I mean, it's his job is to, like he said, find people who need help, explain what their options are. Look, whether you go with us or someone else, you need help. I will never say we're the best. I think we're really stinking good. We do this, and our industry knowledge is not many people have the background that we do, which gives us that competitive advantage. There's a lot of folks out there right now that say they can help, but they don't do this every day. They do it when a storm hits. Some of these people that are helping people today or offering to help people today haven't done this since Katrina. The world in which we work and operate every day changes every day. Wow. And if you haven't been in it in 16 years, it's like starting over. So I would say that if you need help, make sure that you find someone that really knows what they're doing. Of course, I recommend ourselves because we do thousands of cases a year, and this is all we do, and we do it all day, every day. We have a huge team. That's also the other thing, is there's a lot of single operators out there, or really small teams, and there's a few that are good. There's a lot that are not good. But we have a huge team. The only way that we're successful in this business, the only way we can have a huge team and have aircraft to fly around to get to places really quick that we own and operate, the only way we're able to do all those things globally is because we're successful at getting you guys paid. Because if we didn't get you guys paid, then we wouldn't have all those things. We wouldn't have this team and be able to do the things that we're able to do. So our success shows in our team size and the assets that we have and the things that we're able to do. And so I would say that make sure that you select someone who actually knows what they're doing and does this full time, not someone who was chasing ambulances last week, right, and decides to be a hurricane lawyer this week. It's really important that you get the right person to handle the loss.
Gotcha. But last question, man, before I want you guys to make sure you tell everybody how to get in touch with ATA. How does the office look when LSU plays Alabama?
Hey, I tell you what, it's really fun. Look, at the end of the day, I grew up in Mississippi. My dad was from Alabama, so my grandpa was an Alabama fan, so it's kind of in my blood. And the same thing for folks in LSU, right? So I think it's a really, we hate each other, but we love each other at the same time. No, I live in Orange Beach, so there's
right.
All my neighbors are either Auburn or LSU or Alabama fans, right? Like there's so many folks over here from Louisiana, and so we do have a good time. We don't hang out with each other on LSU Alabama Day, but the rest of the time we can hang out and have fun. But I think that's the best part about living in the South. Football is part of our DNA, and I love it. And I know that Chris does too. So it's an interesting dynamic, on a couple days a year. Right. But we have fun with it, and at the end of the day, it's SEC, baby. Yeah. So we're the best in the country, no doubt.
So how do we get in touch with you? So we'll post this in our Westbank Real Estate Investors group. Besides Googling ATA, how can we get in touch with Chris? How could we get in touch with ATA?
Yeah, we want you to call Chris directly. So, Chris, you want to give out your number real quick?
Absolutely. 504-355-7581. Email address is christopher@attaclaims.com.
Yeah. So, give that one more time, Chris. Give it a little slower so that they make sure everybody gets it.
504-355-7581. And you can call me anytime.
Yeah. So Chris will be y'all's point of contact. Anything you need, he's going to be your guy to get you going, to get you set up and onboarded with us. It's a really simple process, not difficult at all. But we want to take the headache off your plate, not add more to it. So we're going to be really easy to work with. The other thing about having a big team is you can get somebody on the phone. A lot of the complaints and a lot of people that come over to us from other people that they've hired is because I can't get in touch with them. I can't get a status update. I have no idea what's going on. Right. This process is not quick. It's not. Anything dealing with insurance is not quick. Quality does take time, but you're going to be able to get us on the phone to know what's going on at any time. We have an office full of administrators that you can, we've got an 800 number you can call. You can call Chris. I mean, there's a ton of people you can call. You can call me if you need to. I'm probably not going to be much help. I'm going to get somebody else to help you. But you're always going to have somebody to get on the phone and find out what's going on. And look, even if you don't sign up with us, if you just have questions, we want to be a resource for y'all to help you, right? I grew up in ministry, which is serving. And I tell my people all the time, Chris will tell you this, I'm like, what we do is ministry, guys. Yep. We're here to serve. We're here to educate. We're here to do things. So even if you don't hire us to do work, we want to help you. We want to be a resource for you no matter what. And I know that we're going to provide value to your business and most importantly to your bottom line. That's what we do every day. So.
Yeah, perfect. Well, I want to thank you guys, man, for your time. Look forward to working with you. Talk to you soon. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, man. Appreciate it.